The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to the set of The Gloves Are Off. I'm your host, Carly Agro, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Brian Kern. Welcome back to the set, Brian.
Thanks, Carly. This is the only time I actually am a co-host, but as the show goes on, you'll notice it's Carly's show. But it's great to see you, Carly. Great to see the smiles. Let's get on with the show.
Likewise. Let's move on. And our special guest today is Mark Bosley. Mark, you are from MMA United. Welcome to the set. And this is perfect timing having you here because we have a whole lot of MMA topics that we're going to get into off the top.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And tell us a little bit about your fighting background before we get into things.
Well, my background, I came from judo background. I've been doing judo since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Competing on the national level and being all right successful. And then I got into the MMA world here about 2 years ago, and with that I'm 6-2 and training at the United MMA Center here. And it's been good so far.
Great.
So before we go any further, everyone take a look at this guy's face. So if you see him out somewhere and you think because he's small, he's probably going to kick
if you're at Eddie's or the cooler and you're walking out of a bathroom and someone's going to blindside you,
I'm glad I met him because I don't have to go near him now.
Exactly. No, I'm a nice guy. I don't like to do that kind of stuff outside of the ring.
All right. Well, we're going to get started. This is the biggest headline really to come out of the MMA world as of late. GSP and Josh Koscheck. We all know how this one ended. I hate to say it. Am I the only one sitting here a little bit disappointed in this one? Were you disappointed?
Disappointed that, Koscheck didn't live up to all his talk. Like, he thought maybe he would have put Rush on the fence, made it a little bit entertaining, kind of got a couple punches in, but I don't even think St. Pierre got hit in that fight too much.
He looked untouched.
Well, you got to help me out here because we were playing that night. How long? We wanted to see the fight. How long did it last?
It lasted all 5 rounds. It did go all 5 rounds, but I mean, Koscheck was mangled from the jabs after the first round. I mean, the doctor had to come and look at him after the 3rd round, but
probably should have stopped it then.
Yeah,
right? He kept going.
I listened to George's after post-game fight and stuff, and I don't know the guy I've heard him speak twice. He seems like a pretty good guy. He knows his business. He's classy. He goes in there, and I think that's why everybody likes him. Is that right?
For sure. I think he's one of the most liked MMA fighters, and just because of who he is and how he holds himself up.
But that night too, we got to move on to the next topic already. It's UFC Canadian. That's what I'm calling this one because these guys weren't I mean, obviously GSP's Canadian, he was a hometown hero, but he wasn't the only Canadian fighting that night. There were 3 other guys that fought. What does this say about the quality of Canadian fighters out there?
Canadians are very dominant. I don't know, for our population size, we have great athletes here. I mean, just in Lloydminster, there's good athletes, and never mind we get to our centers like Edmonton, unbelievable. And you think for per capita, and we're competing with these American people that have so many more numbers, but yet we're putting out just as good or better world-class
but on the
athletes.
same token, though, you know what I like to say about it is anyone who does this, and I'm not that fights like this.
You're not considering a career change?
No, I get my rear end kicked. These guys are way better than me. Now, on the ice, that's a different story. I might change stuff. But you know what is the fact that if you want something, these guys love this, and they train hard for it. So does an American train harder than a Canadian, or Canadian train harder than American? I don't know, but I think you're on an even ground. It's 2 people who want something really, really bad. And it's great to see Canadian kids, young men coming in and doing what they're doing. And
moving on to our next topic, Tour FC, I'm calling this one. The biggest MMA event in North American history is now set for Toronto. So Dana White doesn't hesitate to praise Canada and our sort of obsession and passion for this sport. What are the expectations for this event in Toronto for you guys?
Big. Dana White says it's going to be the biggest card ever. They're pulling Brock Lesnar out there, and they're having a bunch, and it's in the Rogers Center, I believe.
Yeah.
So right there, that's a lot more space. I think they could have up to 50,000 people. They're going to be shooting for.
I think it's going to be the biggest thing to put Canada on the map in this. They are, but this event has got to be done
Top notch.
Top notch, as big as it can be done to sell this to the whole country, because there are still provinces that don't like it, and I think this is somewhere where we're heading, and it's a good event.
Do you think it's a little bit of a gamble though, just because it was recently? I mean,
or coming back from Canada or from Quebec, Montreal to Toronto.
It's a gamble, but I think, you know what, with the fight card you're talking about, who wouldn't want to see most of these?
They put the right people on there. They're going to sell out again for sure.
And let's talk about another sellout, because a little closer to home, EFC 6 happened not too long ago. It's been just about a week, and obviously you're heavily involved in the local scene here, but this was a great night for local fighters. 2 titles won by local guys.
It was a really good night. Greg Welsh there won the 145-pound belt. Pretty one-sided match, but relatively quick. I think it was
17 seconds. The
seconds
kick to the head.
Head kick.
It was unbelievable.
So that was good for our club, and the other one was Paul Crambois. 180 was he, or 185?
Yeah, I think he was a little heavier.
A little heavier, and I didn't catch that match in the back. I was in the back a little more warming up with our team, but I heard he did pretty good.
So then my question is, Brian, because you're also familiar with these events being at the Civic Center, EFC 7 is now sort of on the horizon. What is it going to take does this region really even need to try that hard for these events to be success, just because we have the talent? And
no, they have to.
Yeah.
They really do. To me, your fight card is your biggest thing, who you have. Promoting your local fighters, big, but promotion. I don't care where you are, if you're promoting it and you make it a big event, people come to big events. And if you do it the right way and not these cheesy way and not done properly.
So right way. So for example, EFC 7, what's it going to take for that to be done the right way?
I think just by new building location, just offering it in the Civic Center is more appealing to everyone. You know, you're not jammed into a little Saskatchewan building. The Civic Center is more open to everybody. And like I said, the promoters are going to do a lot of promoting, do their advertisement, get the good fighters, the local people, what brings in all your local people.
Well, I was at a couple of the events at the Civic Center, and like for me, I'd like to see a great light show.
Yeah.
I would like to see when the fighters come out of those
Ryan
dressing rooms.
likes the lights.
No, because you're selling the event, and those guys, there should be the gates up against, and those guys walking through there should be some smoke and everything, because it's a big hype. For these guys, and these guys already know they're going in and having a war. But there was one fight there I liked where they both stared at each other, and I said, this is going to be a great fight. And for 45 seconds was the best fight I saw that night. But then he got him in a chokehold, and that was the end of it. But they got to sell it, promote it even more.
Make that atmosphere.
That atmosphere.
The atmosphere.
Thank you.
All right, well, there's going to be a whole lot of atmosphere on this set. Stay tuned. There's a whole lot more Dump and Change to come. Stay tuned.